Okay, you're ready to go?
All right, let's do it. Welcome to the April 2026 meeting of the Transportation Committee. My name is Jason Bromwitz. I'm the chair of the committee. Today we are joined by Assistant District Manager Brendan Berth. This meeting is called to order at 7:03 p.m. As a reminder, New York State law requires all committee members who are not able to attend the meeting in person to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. Members of the public who are here in person, you can raise any questions that you have by raising your hand. If there's any time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. Jerry has agreed via email to take the minutes tonight, even though he's not here. Very good. We will not take attendance by roll call, and Brendan will conduct the roll call.
Okay, committee members, I will call your name. When your name is called, please say present. I will announce if there is quorum. Michael Cohen. Present. Pete Bisman. I don't see. Maya Donahue.
Present.
Barack Friedman.
Present.
Jason Fromowitz.
Present.
Eric Goldberg will be with us tonight. Sean Lamoureux.
Present.
Anna Paisior.
Present.
Miriam Rowe.
Present.
Larry Shire.
Present.
And Jerry Weinstein, I also do not see, but we do have a quorum.
Great, all right, the agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and reflected on the screen before you. I do have an amendment to make to the agenda number 3 on the honorary street naming. The requesters weren't able to make tonight's meeting, so they asked for this to be postponed. With that amendment, if there's no objection, we will adopt the agenda. Alrighty, the minutes, we've adopted the agenda. The minutes for the March 2nd meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there's no objection, we will adopt the minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the minutes, please raise your hand. Seeing no objection, the minutes are adopted and they will soon be available on the CB6 website. Let's set some ground rules. In order to conduct a efficient meeting, no one may speak until they come to the floor. Committee members who are here in person, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. Committee members unable to attend in person, if you have a question about committee business, you may raise your hand through Zoom and I will identify you so you can speak. All committee members, it's extremely important that only one person speak at a time, so that members of the public watching at home can understand what is being said by each committee member. Chat function for committee members present via Zoom should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All remarks should be on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used in regards to technical difficulties you're having or to state in writing information like an email address that was already stated aloud on the record. We will start out with tonight's agenda with a report from the Department of Transportation, and Colleen, you have the floor. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's Colleen Chattagoon from City Department of Transportation. Nice to see all of you. Just 2 quick updates. The New York City DOT will celebrate the 56th anniversary of Earth Day, Car-Free Earth Day on Saturday, April 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. On that day, City Bike will offer free one-day passes to all riders. Now, in Manhattan, the event locations are going to be Broadway at 17th Street, from 17th Street to 46th Street, St. Nicholas Avenue, 181st Street to 185th Street, and then Dyckman Street, Broadway to La Marina in Woodhill Park. The other announcement is that City DOT is issuing an special event construction embargo in effect for when FIFA World Cup will be in the city. That is going to be in effect on Monday, June 8th. To Monday, July 20th. And what that is that construction permits will not be issued. Only emergency permits will be issued for work to be done should there be any emergency. And I believe I share the location with the community board. If not, I will send that over to Brandon with the list of street closures that are anticipated, or the areas where the FIFA embargo is going to be in effect. And that's it.
All right, questions. We'll start with Maya.
Yeah, I had a quick question. For the free City Bike Day Pass, is that just for the regular bikes or is it inclusive of the electric?
You know what? I want to say it's probably it's probably both, but I will confirm that. But that's a great question.
On
Yeah.
that note, I believe last year was limited to a certain number of redemptions. It went kind of quickly. That's still gonna be the case.
It might be, because it's like, you know, we're serving so many people, Lyft is serving so many people with the City Bike. I can confirm that if there is a limitation and what that number is.
Noted, but I guess I would just encourage people if they want to take advantage of it to not wait a bit.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
great time to do that.
I saw on the news today that it was only non-electric bikes.
Okay. Okay, well, that's good. Oh, well, you beat me to it, Larry.
Okay, I have a question for you, Colleen. When I came to the meeting tonight, I took the Third Avenue bus uptown, and the bus stopped short of 42nd Street. And I learned from the bus driver there that the bus stop had been relocated from between 42nd and 43rd Street. The board office here doesn't have or at least Brendan doesn't have any awareness of there having been an announcement, so this wasn't shared with the community, and I, as a regular user of that bus stop coming to these meetings here, was caught flat-footed, and so was everybody else on the bus who had been intending to get off at 43rd Street. Fortunately, I had that conversation with the driver, and a bunch of people thanked me for informing them. The signs were put up, you know, and they're all in order. So how does DOT work with MTA in a situation like this? And then sort of a corollary to that, during the World Cup, will that construction be suspended?
Well, here's the thing, that particular stop was rerouted. I mean, that because of construction work. Um, yeah, and due to FIFA, yes, that work would be on hold because it's not considered an emergency work. You know, we've been speaking with MTA for the past couple of months about the relocation, and you know, apologies on our oversight if we didn't inform the community board on this. I know we did share with the Grand Central Partnership the relocation because we wanted to get feedback from, you know, buildings, developments in that area to see what impact it would have on them. And again, this is temporary. I will send Brendan the information. The relocation occurred last week. So, you know, our apologies. We should have informed the community board. Next time we'll do better.
Could you advise us now and how the neighborhood's going to be affected by the construction? Is there going to be a loss of that curb lane crossing 42nd Street? Because that could back up traffic quite a bit.
Well, you know, with any construction, Larry, there's always the use of the curb lane for storage of equipments and materials. And if that's the case, then you know, a pedestrian walkway will be provided. But I don't have the information about the permit stipulations that's been granted to that development, but I can definitely get that and I can share that with you and the community board.
Thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
Michael, go ahead.
I mean, about the World Cup, I was hearing about how like a lot more pedestrian space is being put in for it. Is any of that gonna be going on in CB6?
Repeat the question to me again.
I was saying that because of the World Cup, a lot more pedestrian space is gonna be put in and a lot of bike lanes are gonna be improved. I was hearing about something that's going on near 15th Street in CD6 regarding the bike lane there and the construction for the World Cup. Is there any more space that's gonna be put in because of it?
Well, we are working very closely with our partners and other agencies with a lot of our safety improvement projects. For example, we are working to expand several bike lanes. We're working on expanding the sidewalk on 9th Avenue, as well as creating a plaza space at Grand Army Plaza. So these are projects that we are working on implementing before the World Cup, so that, of course, they're good, for more space for pedestrians to congregate, as well as working with the MTA in terms of services for buses, because we know it's going to be a busy time during the World Cup. So yes, we are diligently working on a lot of safety improvement projects to get that done before, the World Cup arrives in New York City.
Thank you. All right, nothing for you, Brock? Wow, crazy.
Barack is happy with Third Avenue.
Well, now that you said that, but this, those obstructions are still there, but I know we're talking offline about it, so.
We're talking offline about that. Yeah.
All right, thank you for coming.
Thanks.
All right, next on the agenda, we have a presentation from EDC on 34th Street, Ferry Landing. Yes, if you can join us at the table, that would be.
Okay.
If you need us. You go to the screen. That's, I do better.
Appreciate it. Okay, I'm Luke Herberman. I work for the NYC Ferry Department at EDC. I work on fleet and facilities related things. I'm also a CB6 member. I live on 38th and Lexington. And I'm here to talk about the queuing improvements project that we're doing. NYC Ferry has seen a need for a while that the queuing situation at 34th Street could use improvements. And this project is aimed at addressing that. We last discussed this with CB6 leadership back in November, and we had it approved by PDC this February.
See if it works now.
Yeah, so actually, I wanted to also note that to frame this a little more, the heart of the issue here is a capacity issue, and this project serves as an interim solution or an interim improvement while we think of a better fully redeveloping the terminal at a later date. So today I'm going to talk about the overview of the terminal and the context behind this project, and then the process, and then get to the impacts, and yes. So 34th Street Ferry Terminal was built in phases from 2007 to 2018. There's a central queuing pier. There are 3 floating barges that allow passengers to board the ferries. There are monopiles that allow ferries to berth easily. And at any given time, there can be 5 vessels, 2 side loading, 3 bow loading. The side loaders are those 2 bigger vessels. The bow loading is the one NYC Ferry vessel you see there. And the regular scheduled ferries that operate out of here are NYC Ferry, which has 4 routes now, thanks to the optimization effort we did back in December. And then Sea Streak, which are those larger boats, and New York Water Taxi. So this is one of our biggest and most used terminals in the harbor. Yeah.
Because one of the biggest and most used terminals in the harbor, I was thinking like what'd be really great is you have the ferry terminal in Staten Island, it's like really big and enclosed and stuff like that. I think that if you had something a little more like that over on 34th Street, things would be way better. Like,
Yeah, that's helpful input, and something we're thinking about as I mentioned, that bigger project to fully redevelop the terminal. That's something we'll take into consideration. Yes.
And just addressing the existing situation, the windscreen is, and the seating is very important. Perhaps not so much in the summertime to have that windscreen, but clearly a day like yesterday when we were using the ferry when it was rainy and windy and a bit nippy. I understand that your plan is to remove the windscreen. What protection is, I'm interested to hear what protection and maybe heating could be brought to bear, other than creating an totally indoor space.
Yeah, I'll clarify with my kind of scope of the project later. We're not removing the entire windscreen area. There's just a wraparound portion.
Yeah, that's the part I'm talking about,
Yeah,
where they have the comfortable seating.
yeah,
Yeah, perhaps we go through the slides first.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'll stop now.
that's fine. Okay. So. To frame the project up a little bit more, the original design was kind of different from how it's used today. Back then, NYC Ferry didn't exist. There were only 3 to 4 routes. The service models were different. They were less frequent and kind of more focused on the commuters. And there was minimal need for structured queuing. This lent to focusing on aesthetics and less of like a active throughput transit hub. And then when you compare that to today, there are over 900 passengers that flow through here every hour. Now we have 9+ routes that stop here. NYC Ferry, as I mentioned, has 4 high frequency routes. That's 7 queues. So it kind of has changed over the years, and now passengers have to actively queue and be vigilant, looking for their vessels. So these stanchions and belts exist, and we have upland staffing consistently at the landing to help manage all of that. So all of that contributes to congestion and overcrowding at the terminal. Yes.
And I've taken a ferry from the 34th Street Ferry Terminal. And I've seen the queues. The queues, like they put up the stanchions. Everyone has to wait. It's a little confusing to know what line to be on. You have to be on a certain line for a certain route, and it's like it's tough to understand like how to get to your boat and stuff.
Yeah, I was there yesterday, or 2 days ago, taking the ferry to Williamsburg, and I, as a NYC ferry user, had a little trouble figuring out what line to get in and which boat I was going to, so I can understand that, and I hope that this project is going to address some of that in a way. Here is what I was kind of talking about, the queues, as folks here probably know, can go far beyond the bounds of the terminal, and obviously that's supposed to be a bike lane. It's not really used that way when this happens. Yeah. So when this happens on the central queuing pier, we've at NYC Ferry have kind of gone during this time and recognized these 2 spots, one highlighted in red, one highlighted in yellow, that to us create pinch points and reduce kind of that organization that could come with a more open terminal. So we're planning on removing the wraparound section that juts out into the central queuing pier, and then also this seating island that sits in the middle. And you can even kind of see here, there's a little bit of a bunch point where someone is trying to go towards a vessel, and then there are people leaving the vessels. Yeah. So the progression as it's been up to this point, we presented the NYC ferry route optimization, which passed a resolution. That resolution also encouraged EDC to reorganize queues, and with that in mind, we brought up the project to CB6 leadership in November. They advised using that resolution to support the PDC approval. We got that PDC approval, and since then, EDC has been onboarding contractors to do the actual work and planning out how this is gonna go. Right now, construction is scheduled to run overnight between the 13th and the 27th. And there's a little bit more of the phasing to help show you what the impact is going to be. On the far left is how it is now. In the second shot, there is staging that's gonna encompass, as I illustrated here. It's gonna wrap around that central seating island and then also the wraparound section. And that's just for 1 week. Once the seating island is removed, the staging comes down a little bit to just the wraparound section. And again, this is all planned. The actual work is gonna take place at night, so all that the riders will see during the day is these barriers that are gonna be kind of wrapped around the sections. So, and we've talked to our operators about this, who don't have any concerns about real queuing impacts. It's just gonna be a matter of, hey, when you are sitting down on the north side, which will remain open, you'll have to kind of come back around the construction a little bit. Yeah, yes.
Well, I have a question about how long is this project gonna be like closed? Like, how long is the terminal gonna be closed for? Like, is it gonna be
Yeah.
entirely closed like then?
It's a little, it's, you can't see it because it's behind the screen sharing thing, but, week 1, which is that bigger section, which will be staged, is from the 13th to the end of that week, which is the 17th. And then week 2, then the weekend, they don't do any construction, then they come back the next Monday from the 20th to the 24th. And again, it'll all be overnight.
Will all be done by the end of this month?
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Just out of nerdy curiosity, what is that weird obstruction thing? You showed us a close-up picture of it. It's there in the
Yeah,
in the schematic too. What is that?
it's a seating island is how we've defined it. It's,
It's seats there. I see.
yeah, these little, it's just an S-shaped seating
Got it,
thing
got it.
with a windscreen that kind of sticks up. Yeah, yes,
Can I drill into,
Yeah.
this drawing here? Where the words wraparound wall are written,
Yeah.
there's a solid, metal, or I don't know, if it's a semi-solid metal wall.
Yeah.
Is it possible to make that transparent? Because, the ability to look through there, would provide, a clue as to which boats are coming in
yeah,
on the
Yeah.
north side.
that's an important thing. It doesn't fall within the scope of this project, but I think it's something we can take into account when we think about the larger redevelopment, for sure.
And what, protections, like what you have with the S-shaped,
Yeah,
seating barrier, that's coming out will be, provided, for people, in the, in the fall and the winter.
at this phase, we're not planning any we're not planning to build anything. But again, that can be reconsidered when we,
Because,
Winter.
because you're gonna be completely open to storms there.
I think at this phase, it's more about trying to build out a lot more space for that queuing to be better organized, but there's definitely, longer term work here around how do we improve the entire terminal into something that's.
And then ultimately, in addition to protection from wind, you'll have an opportunity to, rethink how to provide, proper radiant heating for the people in the sheltering areas.
thank you. Sorry, yes.
I don't think the heating, I've tried the radiant heating, I don't think it necessarily works.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I don't
It's been
think the
turned
radiant
off.
heating works.
It's been turned off.
Yeah, the current heating system hasn't really proved effective when they were able to turn on just because of the wind. It wasn't very effective and so they've been turned off for I think the last couple of years.
Yes.
And stop me if this is going to be future side, but are you gonna do permanent? Rather than the temporary dividers, are you gonna do permanent lanes that are like numbered, where you can look at a screen and figure out what your route?
I think that's something we would consider.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as part of
Not,
this.
and not as part of this, no.
But that would only be done as part of a larger redesign, or
Redesign, yeah.
is there a reason not to do, not even just permanent stanchions, but just like standardized, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just look at the screen and it tells you which one is which route? You need the flexibility for reasons that like I don't understand in terms of programming.
Yeah, I think, but I mean, it is a good point. I think we can take that back. and
Yeah.
do Something like immediate term that we could do there, but
Right.
yeah, I do think those stanchions are a little bit more flexible in case like sometimes, we have more vessels coming on one side versus another.
Got
Yeah,
so-
or if there's a special event, a lot of times.
Yeah.
Charter boats will come in and have to kind of reorganize those fees, yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Yes.
What about having, on each of the lines, like, I have a concern about the removal of the wraparound wall. I think it's actually a great idea. My concern is that, like, this side of the wraparound wall only has seating for this lane. Or one over there, and I'd like to see more seating for the rest of the lanes as well. There's
Yeah.
gonna be generalized waiting area, actually at the front of the terminal for people to sit and wait for their ferry.
That's a good point.
I think it'd be a better idea than having separate seating in each lane to have a place where people can just sit before the lanes begin.
Yeah.
Maybe in the long term, a waiting room or just an open area where people can sit and wait for the ferry. Have a screen that shows when the ferry is coming, if it's an hour off or 30 minutes off, they can take a seat.
Yeah, these are all great ideas, which, will,
There's
take
a second
it.
pump station.
Yeah,
I think
Where
we're
else
falling
ferry comes.
into the same trap as last time, where we all have really big ideas and stuff, so, I just remember this happening last time. Is there time to do questions and comments, like at the end?
I was basically done with my
Okay.
presentation.
Okay, awesome.
I'm just trying to understand, is Michael suggesting that seating be utilized to help separate the lines so that somebody who's older needs to sit and may not wanna, or be able to stand for 45 minutes, has an opportunity to sit adjacent to the line and basically not lose their place?
What I mean is that the hours can be like 45 minutes, times an hour. And it would be nice to have a place where people can sit and separated by designated by the different ferries, like there's one for Sea Street, there's one for New York
Yeah,
City
yeah.
Ferry. And people can sit there and wait till the next ferry arrives.
In other words, you could have parallel benches.
Yeah, for each one, like parallel seating, basically.
That's something we can consider, yeah.
Is there anything you need from us today related to this? Is this informative?
Just information.
Just, I, no objection to anything. Thank you for the presentation. It's great. Just in Miriam's spirit of big ideas, bathroom, like at Wall Street Ferry, there's this bathroom.
Is there?
And,
Is there? That's what-
yeah,
It's-
there's a bathroom at the Wall Street Ferry.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah,
Good to know though.
It's a big ask and be a big help.
and now that this is a big ferry hub, I don't know how it compares to Wall Street, but a lot of, just something to bring back. I don't expect an answer.
Yeah.
Something to bring back to your team.
We have, we will certainly take that into consideration. It's been brought up many times and we're very aware and acknowledge the need that has to happen.
All right, other questions? Thanks. I appreciate you guys coming, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Right, next on the agenda, we have discussion on implementing neighborhood slow zone throughout Manhattan Community District 6. We have a couple presenters from Families for Safe Streets. Did you wanna start with an intro or do you want them up to you?
This is from Families for Safe Streets, of movement that's happening across the city. And from what I understand, we're the last in the congestion zone to hear the presentation. So very excited to hear what the presenters have to say.
And I think there's 11 community, there's several community districts who have signed
Yeah,
on to this,
yeah.
throughout the city.
No other reason.
That's for last.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Um,
last but not least.
There you go, yes. You guys have the floor. Thank you for coming.
Thanks so much, guys. My name is Kevin Lachera. I have Alexis Svikas on here as well, and I believe Irma is on here as well from Family Safe Streets. But so thank you so much. I'll kick it over real quick to Alexis and Irma before we jump into the presentation. But my name is Kevin Lachera. I'm from Greenpoint. And have been talking to boards about this. There are currently 9 boards that have passed it in full, and another 8 or so that are in discussion about it. So it's you're not last or first. You're comfortably in the middle of the pack over there at Manhattan 6. But I'm looking forward to presenting to you about it. So I'll kick it over to Alexis.
Thanks,
I'll-
Kevin. Yeah, hi, my name is Alexis Svikas. I'm the New York organizer with Families for Safe Streets. Really appreciate you all giving us the time to discuss slow zones today. And I just want to give, so Families for Safe Streets is an organization comprised of people who have been directly affected by traffic violence. All of our members have either lost a loved one, themselves been injured, or are a caregiver for someone who has been injured due to traffic violence. And we are every day trying to make sure that nobody else has to join this horrible club. So I'm going to hand it off to Irma to briefly share her story, and then we can kind of get into what we can do to prevent stories like Irma's from happening elsewhere.
Thanks, Alexis. So my name is Irma Rosenblatt. I've been a member of Families for Safe Streets since 2014, when my mother was killed by a reckless speeding driver making a left turn, and our lives were shattered after that. I've been working for many years with all of our group about lowering the speed limit, because it's been proven that it is safe. People would less likely be losing their lives if the speed limit was lower. So as you just heard before, a lot of other community boards have been agreeing to having the slow zones and letting the DOT know that we really need this. And, I implore upon you to please add your voices so that people like my mother would be alive, children would be still here, and loved ones, people who have been permanently injured, and speed safety is really, really important. And it's the speed limit law is named after Sammy Cohen, who was killed by a reckless driver in Brooklyn. So, and I live in the district on 32nd Street between 2nd and 3rd. So, and I was interested in hearing about the ferry terminal too. So, because I walk there all the time, and it's a zoo over there. But we're asking, and I understand that there's talks back and forth between the mayor and the city council, and nobody can agree upon who's responsible for what at this point. So tag, you're it for the city, for the community board. And like we said, a lot of other community boards have agreed with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Irma. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get into some of the details about this. Let me know when you can see. Can you see my screen there?
See it.
Great. Okay, now it's just loading. Yes, okay, perfect. Great. So just briefly, as I mentioned, my name is Kevin Lachera. I live in Greenpoint, which is Brooklyn Community Board 1. And I have been working with Families for Safe Streets, bringing this around, talking to folks about it, and right as we deal with this, situation of the council is saying the mayor needs to take action, and the mayor is saying the council needs to take action. In community boards, so often that responsibility ends up in local leadership, part of our responsibility. So we're relying on Manhattan CB6 to step in and say what can be done locally, what you all want to be done locally. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Alexis has talked a little bit about this. Is there anything here you want to add, Alexis?
Just, I would add that, traffic violence happens to everyone. It does not discriminate. So if anybody in Manhattan CB6 knows somebody that needs our support, I work with a really lovely social worker. We do advocacy like we're doing tonight, but we also do peer support. And we really want to prioritize helping victims of traffic violence. So just want to make sure that you all know that we are here and available for you.
Looking at the problem citywide, we know, as Alexa says, it's not an issue that discriminates. Last year, 2025, there was 206 people killed on New York City streets. That's one person every 42 hours. Quite a number of pedestrians and motorists, cyclists across the board. What that looks like in Manhattan CB6, 1,325 total crashes with 771 injuries and 5 deaths. We know a few of those names, but there's a number of the names we don't know. I mean, this is a problem that is so endemic, that is happening so often, that we're not able to identify all of the victims that it happens to. So this is something that is preventable. We know that there are 2 major things that contribute to traffic crashes. One is visibility, and the other is speed. Just briefly, this is a map of the district. As we can see, it's not relegated to any one corridor, any one road. It is at every corner, on every street, at every intersection across the board. And it's preventable. We know that slower speeds leads to fewer deaths, fewer injuries. God forbid you are hit at 30 miles an hour, you are 80% likely to survive that crash. If you are hit at 20 miles an hour, you are 92% likely to survive that crash, to walk away. That's basic physics. It's stopping distance. It's how well a driver can see you. It is something that is absolutely, absolutely preventable. This is just another chart that kind of gets into that. Stepping back a little bit in time, there have been advocates that have been fighting to lower speed limits on New York City streets for quite some time. The piece of legislation that Irma was talking about, Sammy's Law, was passed in 2024 after 10 years of advocacy from 2014 to 2024. And it gave New York City the power to set its speed limits on residential streets. It did not require that change be made. It just gave us the local control in order to do it. I know that from speaking from my community board experience, so often, folks will come to us and they say, I want a stop sign, or I want a stoplight, or I want speed cameras. And there is so much that is dependent on Albany taking action, where even though we know our streets, we know our corners, and we know what that looks like in our communities, that violence, what that actually looks like, we don't have that local control in order to do it. And advocates fought for 10 years to give New York City the right and ability to lower its speed limits. Unfortunately, that was passed in the midst of the last mayoral administration. And so right now, less than 2% of all city streets have implemented Sammy's Law, which, is great for those communities that have it, great for those areas that do have it. But for those of us that don't, it really doesn't match the possibility. It doesn't match the moment, right? We have the power to do this on all of our streets. Right now in Manhattan, it is, the slow zone is Manhattan Community Board 1. So all the streets south of Canal, from Canal to the Battery. So a little bit of CB3 and all of Manhattan CB1 have Sammy's Law, as well as 100 school locations, primarily school locations. There are a couple of other small neighborhood regional zones around the city. Dumbo and City Island, Broad Channel, and St. George, like around New Brighton in Staten Island. Again, very welcome in those communities, but those are pretty small areas of the city. Again, all less than 0.5 square miles. So community boards have kind of stepped in to that vacuum of leadership. In February of last year, Brooklyn CB1, which was my board, had passed a resolution asking to be a regional slow zone. And in February of this year, since February of this year, there's a number of 8 other boards have asked for the same. So that's Queens CB1 and 2, Manhattan's CB2, 3, 4, and 5, and Brooklyn 6 and 7 have all passed resolutions almost entirely unanimously in those boards as well, calling for district-wide slow zones, basically saying we want the benefits of Sammy's Law on our streets. Queen CB6 has also passed it through their transportation committee, and there are 8 other boards that have this calendared right now before the summer break. On the campaign trail, Mayor Mamdani expressed support for broad implementation of Sammy's Law. The mayor, as we understand it, does not have the ability to do this citywide with the stroke of a pen, but does have the ability to set these zones. You would need a city council law to do this citywide. But those zones can be, it seems to us, at least as large as a community board, as Mayor Adams demonstrated. And so that's what community boards are asking for, passing resolutions asking for full implementation of that district-wide slow zone. Sammy's Law applies on all streets in Manhattan except for state highways. It gets a little bit funkier in the other boroughs, but in Manhattan itself, it applies on all streets except for state highways. So the FDR Drive is not applicable here. It would not, that would not have the 20-mile-per-hour speed limit. And what the speed limits look like right now in CB6, almost entirely 25 miles an hour with the exception of the FDR Drive. So this would make all those streets in blue. It would make them green. It would make them 20 miles an hour. And the FDR Drive would remain the same. Just to give you a sense of what this looks like, again, this is just, I think it's an important map that's a crash mapper map. All those orange dots there are injuries. All the yellow dots are crashes. Most of them are covered up by the orange dots, and the red dots are unfortunately deaths in the district. And they are preventable. So that's just a very, very basic sample resolution. I think, obviously your board should include whatever else you think pertinent, but the basic language of the last 9 boards citywide has been the same, which is that the community board is asking DOT to institute a district-wide 20-mile-per-hour slow zone on all applicable streets.
And we shared a resolution ahead of the meeting on that. So yeah.
Great. Yeah, Alexis, is there anything else you'd like to add, or Irma?
I'll just mention that, again, we have support services for people that have been affected by traffic violence, and we do really want to provide support for anybody that is struggling with this. Irma, is there anything you'd like to say?
Please pass it.
There you go. Yeah, happy to answer any questions that the board has. It's this is a really, really straightforward way that the boards across the city, that your own board can take a stand on this, can communicate to DOT what we want. If the mayor went to sleep tonight and woke up tomorrow morning, he could say that Manhattan CB6 is a community slow zone. That is well within his power and the power of his Department of Transportation. And that's safety that all of our communities deserve across the board, and something that we can do. So happy to answer any questions anybody's got. Really appreciate you all having us tonight.
Yeah, thank you all very much. We have a bunch of hands in the room. Let's start with Brendan.
Okay, so a basic request and then a more substantive question. The basic request is if you could send your presentation to the board office, so that way we can post it on our V-Minutes database. That would be deeply appreciated.
Yep, you got it.
Terrific. The more substantive question, not necessarily related to this proposal, but to one of your slides more broadly. I noticed on one of your slides, one of the red dots was a larger red dot than the other red dots. it looks like, unless my eyes are deceiving me. If that's indeed the case, I would like to know which intersection that is, just so that we can take an extra look at that intersection.
Yes, it looks like, hold on.
Cause I assume that means multiple fatalities at that intersection, and that's concerning.
Yeah, I can get that for you.
It
Yeah,
might be,
It's not on the FDR drive. It's looks like, now, hold on one second. I think it's
Yeah,
Second
it-
Avenue.
it's probably Second Avenue and 53rd, and it might be a bigger dot because it's close to the FDR and 53rd crash. Might be
No,
zoomed
it's
out.
its own dot. I'd link to the, sorry guys, give me a moment. This is why.
also, if you don't know now, we can connect offline, was just. If and when you happen to know,
I'm pulling it up as we speak. No, I think it just was perhaps the way that it's Second Avenue and 53rd, as Alexa said, but I think it's just because I might have like widened the image a little bit to make it bigger, that it looks bigger. There was one death at that intersection.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but you know what? There was a number of, this is the thing with the oranges and reds. There was a number of other crashes at that intersection. There was 4 crashes, 3 injuries, and 1 person killed, and that's why the dot is larger. And I'm happy. This is in my presentation. In the presentation, there on that initial slide where it has the list of the crashes and injuries, there's a link to that map, and you could the board can dig into it. And this is all available on Crash Mapper. That's NYPD reports, but all that is there for you. So I'll send that along.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Or Michael, go ahead.
Well, one thing that is problem is that one of the streets in our district, 34th Street, is not exclusively under the control of the city. It's partially under control of the Trump administration, under the Federal Highway Administration, and is designated as a connector route, which makes it impossible to modify it without Federal Highway Administration approval. How does the neighborhood slow zone work at 34th Street?
That's a great question. And I am not sure. That would be a great question for DOT. There is not, I will say, you know, right now we've talked about this with 11 boards. And do you happen to know, is it Michael?
Yes.
Sorry, yeah, thank you, Michael. Do you happen to know if there are other, I know 34th obviously is, and I know that was like a lot of the hubbub around the busway and all that. Do you know if there are other routes that are federal connector routes that are local streets, but not state highways? This isn't a question that's come up anywhere else.
Trying to find out.
Yeah.
Larry, maybe not.
It also maybe I'm not, if DOT might know, and I see the DOT is perhaps still here, but off camera, but it might be a question that they might know. Alexis, do you happen to know if there's anything? There's no language around federal jurisdiction in the in Sammy's law, correct?
No, not to my knowledge. This is the first time I've really heard this question before, so I can bring it back to our research team at FSS as well.
I don't think that changes our ability to pass a resolution on it. I guess it maybe would be a question of if it could be implemented on 34th Street, but I think we could still ask for it to be implemented sort of regardless of the technicalities.
There's also 14th Street and 21st Street, and I think 42nd Street as well.
Yeah. So all the other boards, and this is all the other Manhattan boards, CB1 has it universally already. 2, 3, 4, and 5 have all passed it, and the question didn't come up there. So kudos to CB6 for asking a question that we haven't gotten yet. But I think that we can get you a better answer. But I think that, you know, if you would accept a suggestion, it would be just to say, we want implementation on all, on all streets. And then if it turns out that it is not applicable there, well, then you got 99% of the rest of them. You know, with the exception of that street.
Good, Larry.
Can you flesh out the difference between wider and narrower streets? Most cross streets, the exception of 14th, 23rd, 34th, 42nd, 57th Street, are narrow streets.
Yes.
Most north-south streets are wide streets, like those crosstown streets I mentioned before. If the wider streets were left at 25 and the narrower streets were differentiated by their width and were at 20 miles an hour, can you tell me if this discussion has taken place among your colleagues, and what were the pros and cons of either having it universally 20 or differentiating it between 20 and 25?
Yeah, I think the major con to that is driver confusion. It is a lot easier to know that a whole area is going to be one speed limit rather than having to, worry that when you turn, the speed limit's going to change. And while 5 miles per hour really doesn't seem like that big of a difference, we saw in some of those charts how big of a difference that really makes on the outcome of people walking away from a crash. So we recommend doing it 20 across the board, just to really cut down on that confusion. And if, I think it would make the entire congestion zone consistent, which I think like consistency and predictability is really important for drivers and for pedestrians and everyone else on our streets.
Brooke?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the presenters, great presentation. Especially Families for Safe Streets, that just thank you that you went through this horrible thing and you lost somebody important to you, and you're turning that experience into making our city better and, preventing, this from happening to other people. So I just deeply want to say thank you. I support this. And there is a grace for drivers, right? Like the speed limit is 25, but the speed cameras, I think, get like 11 mile per hour grace or something like that. And in fact, going down to 20, depending on the grace given, may be like a 31 mile per hour speed limit in reality, or maybe less if the grace is altered. But anyway, in short, I support this and thank you for presenting.
Steve, right?
Yeah, Steve. The discussion is as much for the Families for Safe Streets folks as it is for the committee members in the room. Given that the average speed of traffic in CB6 is less than 7 miles an hour, what actually would be the objection to this? This doesn't seem to me like this would be a controversial thing, and I'm curious if there's any pushback happening, where that would be, because most of the streets in CB6 go like getting up to 20 miles an hour in the first place.
I mean, in theory, I guess you could get up to 20 miles an hour in like off periods, and so
Yeah.
A lot of speeding.
So it'd be good to be able to foretell that.
But I'm saying I'm fully in support.
Yeah, understand.
At least from my not.
The majority of fatal crashes in the community board and just broadly are at night, when the roads are a little more empty and speeds can get higher. I know the buses may only be able to get up to 7 miles per hour during rush hour, but not every hour is rush hour. And our streets get a lot emptier and a lot more dangerous between dusk and dawn.
Arguing against it, I'm fully in support of it. I was curious as to what any possible objections this might be.
I'm also not arguing against it. Yes. I fully support it. Okay, great. So, go ahead.
When you listed you said a bunch of prospective community boards are coming up, are any of them in the Bronx, and have you gone conversations there?
There are, yes, we have a number of boards that are going to be taking it up in the Bronx in May and June.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
All right, so Echo and Barack, thank you very, very much for the presentation and for all of your work in advocating for this. We have a resolution that was passed around. So I'll migrate the discussion to the resolution. Which Brendan will bring up in a moment. Does anybody have anything they want to ask for to be changed in the resolution, discussion on the resolution, comments?
The one thing I'll just briefly add for the committee, if it's helpful, and I'm not sure this may already be in here, that a number of the other Manhattan boards have included in their resolution the ask for this to be throughout the congestion zone. A number of others, both in Manhattan and outside of Manhattan, have additionally said this ought to be a citywide policy, right? So at the heart of it, kind of the first bar is, of course, the board itself. But if there was anything else that the board wanted to weigh in on or support, you would be in good company in doing so. So, but I so some boards feel more comfortable than others opining.
Okay, cool. Does any before we go into other thoughts, does anybody have thoughts on that? I mean, personally, I'm supportive of that addition. Does anybody feel differently? Larry?
I don't really think it has any implication because we are in the congestion zone, and if we support this, it's not because it's the congestion zone, it's because it's our homes.
Well, I guess the idea would be that we support it throughout the congestion zone, including our portion of it.
I mean, mention in the whereas the fact that we are in a congestion zone might be pertinent, but I don't think that
Well, no, I think
the existence of the congestion zone, one way or another, should increase or diminish our support for it.
No, it would be that we'd add a resolve that we encourage it to be implemented across the congestion zone, the full congestion zone, and across the full.
Oh, we'd like it to be uniform.
Yeah,
I guess it's the uniformity which would be the ask.
yeah, right, yeah,
That's fine with me.
yeah.
I'm generally fine with it. I just want to point out that I think usually we tend to, unless we're in like specific conjunction with other community boards, like we did the 34th Street Busway. We usually don't opine on things outside of our district, but if the committee's fine with it, then I'm fine.
I'm comfortable with it in the name of the efficacy maybe being higher if people know it to be the rule writ
Yeah.
large.
I mean, we have talked about, like, when we were asking the former mayor to open up the pedestrian side of the Kingsborough Bridge, which most of it, if any of it, is not in our district, so.
Right.
Yeah.
True.
Michael, do you want to comment on that or something else?
Actually, I did have a comment.
Related to the addition?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, good, please.
I also wanna see, we have some shared streets on blocks that are more commercial. I'd also like to see some residential shared streets as well, like shared streets on like more residential streets in our district.
I think it's a great idea. If you have a proposal for specifically where, let's talk and we could pass a resolution asking for that. But I think it's outside the scope of this. But I do agree with you. I think it'd be great to see more.
And maybe you should include for certain streets, like, about the connectors, the ones that are designated in the national highway system, something about like working to get them approved for the process necessary for those streets and to.
I don't think we need to call that out separately. I think we're asking for the whole district, it would be inclusive of those. So I don't think there's a need for us to call this out separately. I think if there's a challenge, I would be covered under this that we're asking for in those areas.
So for the last be it finally resolved, can we address that just by adding maybe and throughout the city, so within our district and throughout the city, or is that not enough?
I think that's.
Enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brendan, you were typing way too much.
Yeah,
I was trying to save you.
Our district, comma, and throughout the congestion zone, comma, and the city.
At the end of the.
Yeah. at the
Yeah,
end.
at the end of
But
the.
that final resolve is pretty broad there.
And consistently across the congestion relief zone.
And the city
city
at
wide.
large.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we said.
Consistently across.
go consistently across the congestion relief zone.
Right,
Mhm.
and then, and more generally across the city.
Cause we definitely want that for the entire city.
Is that how I'd like it worded?
Fine.
Works for me. All right,
Thank you, Brendan.
And move to the,
Let's see if there's any other thoughts or comments that we have on this, before we go to a vote, changes, requests?
Just one question, I wanted to make a motion that should this pass, that we should vote on full board on Wednesday, given the momentum
Yeah.
of all
Yeah.
of these, community boards and not let it, kind of sit. So that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're ready to go.
yeah, so that's kind of the ask, that's motion.
Second.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and seconded motion to, call the question.
Vote.
Being no objection, we'll move to vote.
Yeah.
Okay, when I call your name, please say whether you are in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Michael Cohen,
In favor.
Maya Donahue,
In favor.
Brock Friedman,
In favor.
Jason Fromowitz,
In favor.
Sean Lamoureux, Anna Picior,
In favor?
Miriam Rowe,
In favor.
Larry Shire.
In favor.
With all 8 committee members present voting in favor, this resolution passes.
Thank you very much again, for presenting and, your advocacy.
Thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much for your resolution.
Thank you so much, Manhattan Six.
Thanks. And so, yeah, so we'll be voting on this in Wednesday's full board meeting. Right.
Aside from the presentation, is there anything else that you need from us prior to that meeting on Wednesday besides the presentation?
The presentation would be great, but no, shouldn't be anything else.
Thank you. And I've said this to a number of boards that this is such a wonderful board. Your consideration of this, your support for it, especially your unanimity in support for it, makes it so much easier for other boards that might have a harder time elsewhere throughout the city. So it's really very, very appreciated and a humbling thing to be part of this kind of collective effort. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next we have 3 items on the agenda for open street requests. They are all related to school open street requests, permits. First one, I'm thinking we could discuss them collectively. Okay, great. So first one is East 16th Street and East 17th Street. Sorry, Irving Place between East 16th and East 17th Street. The second is Rutherford Place from East 17th Street to East 15th Street. And the third is 22nd Street from Park Avenue south to Lexington Avenue. These are all renewals. They have had the space approved in previous years. We have supported them in
I'm
previous
sorry,
years.
what was the last one located again?
22nd Street from Park Ave to Lex.
Oh.
I believe that's the Ethel.
The French school?
Yes. Michael, go ahead.
I have one condition for the request. And the one condition I have is that while I think it'd be great to have it so that street is closed, with the one near, especially the one on 22nd Street, there is a lot of residential buildings on one side of the street. For all of them, I'd like them not to block the curb cut. And the second thing I'd like is for that one to be, especially that one, for him to be staff, for there to be a staff member present who can open and close the barriers, which should be plastic ones, and so that they can open and close them in order to accommodate emergency services or ride pickups or things like that.
Got it. Sorry, so are you saying, are they blocking the curb cuts today for blocking pedestrians access to the sidewalk? Is that the issue?
No, to make sure that the open street is accessible to people who need the curb cut, and that, including students who might need it, and that they make sure that someone's there to let the emergency services through.
Okay, got it.
You're saying man the barrier?
Yeah. Do we still have Colleen? I'm just curious, yes. Colleen, could you comment on requirements generally for maintaining emergency vehicle access and what the obligations are for the schools on that?
Sure. So with the shared street, with the open streets, we do have maintenance partners. And the maintenance partners, they're the ones who oversee the placement and the removal of Jersey barriers. Emergency response vehicles always have access to these streets. So there should be someone there to, assist with that if need be. What's the- yeah.
These are specifically their school streets. I don't know if there's anything specific for those.
Yeah, and if a school is on that particular street and they're the applicants, they are responsible for that. They're responsible for the Jersey barriers, the placement of it, and monitoring it as well.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Does that answer your question, Mike?
Yes, it does, but I feel like, as soon as that's like, I've heard reports of sometimes it open streets that the fire truck can't get through or that, like and I just wanted to make sure that's being taken care of.
So I think in somewhat, I guess I can't speak to emergency vehicles, but I have seen and not these school streets, because I believe they're fully closed to traffic, but where I've seen other open streets that drivers who need access will come out and like move the barriers to get access, and in theory, they should close them behind them, but in practice, they probably just leave them open. I think that would be the solution for emergency vehicles, that someone will get out of the vehicle to clear it if needed. I would assume that would only really be necessary if they needed access to an emergency on the block. I would expect them to route around these closed streets otherwise. I think it might be asking too much to expect the schools to have somebody staffing the barriers during the full closures. I think it would discourage them to utilize these. So I have personally some concerns about requiring that. My good.
I agree with you. I think especially since these are renewal applications, that maybe when we speak with them directly, being like, yeah, we passed the resolutions, whatever, that would be like as a reminder, the DOT requirements, whatever, but I agree, like, I'd rather the staff spend time watching the children than, watching the barriers. And I do think, like, unless the emergency services are, like you said, servicing someone on that block, it's probably faster for them to go around than it is for them to come out or have somebody move the barriers for them, go through while there's a bunch of children everywhere and have the children be cleared and then go through that one block.
Michael, are you aware of any in particular incident that did something happen that like an emergency vehicle wasn't able to get through?
I've heard reports of like that sometimes the firefighters or sometimes the as workers, EMTs have to get out and move the metal barrier and stuff, but that's what I've been hearing.
I don't know if personally I see that as a problem. I think that's okay.
Are they aware, like the fire departments in the area, the police departments, like, do they get notifications of, hey, this school has open streets on these days or whatever?
I would assume not.
I feel like that would be like an easy way to bridge that barrier.
Sure.
The community board could send a copy of the resolution to the chief of these different firehouses and
Right.
police precinct.
We could do that, or we could also ask in the resolution for them to be notified. Or I guess we could do it ourselves. It's probably the easiest. Sure, that sounds fine.
But I don't think we need to add that to the. I think
Yeah.
just do it back in.
I would agree. Any other thoughts, comments, concerns? Are we generally supportive of the renewals?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, very good. Okay, so I think there was a time sensitivity.
Yes,
Yes.
DOT gave us 45 days to submit comments if we have any. So, and you were notified on March 24th, meaning we have to comment at April school board.
Okay, got it. Okay, so if the committee is so inclined, would anybody wish to make a motion that we pass or adopt the resolution approving these, supporting implementation renewal of these 3 open streets?
Yes.
The question is it necessary Or, as Brendan was saying, that if we had comments that we would pass them along, if we have no objection, we'll let them, renew whenever they need to renew.
We don't strictly have to pass a resolution. I think it'd just be,
Yeah, I think
Helpful.
it's a sort of thing where I think there could be people who come out against, and it's nice to have not the only comments be negative, or at least so long as Open Streets is fairly new. I think it's maybe, it'd be great to get to a day where I didn't worry that there were negative comments.
yeah, it is maybe notable that we didn't have no negative comments, and maybe some applicants.
Do you want to mention that in the resolution?
Yeah, I think we should definitely include that in there, that nobody came to object.
Mhm.
What was I gonna add? I think Anna, to your point, it's good, I think, for us to support explicitly these, to maybe encourage others in the community. I think we're generally would be supportive of that. So I think there's value for us supporting it, but we certainly could choose not to pass anything and just leave no comment, but should be an easy resolution to draft up. All right, so if no comments on the motion? Oh, yes.
We can extend on what you're saying. I think it is also good to further emphasize that streets are for public use, not just for this. And this goes along with that as a broader committee agenda item.
Agreed. All right, so let's take a vote on the resolution to promote the motion to support the open street application.
Okay,
Would be a single resolution for all three locations, right? You can do that.
I was thinking 3 separate resolutions, but we can figure out the
I think
details.
3 it's cleaner, because I'm afraid of somebody at full board coming in like specifically not wanting one.
Yeah, we could try to bundle them at full board.
You can
Okay.
bundle voting at full
We'll
board.
Bundle it full board.
Yeah.
I think that's best. Okay, so 3 separate resolutions, but we'll vote on them as a package. We'll bundle them now as well.
yeah, give me vote as a bundle. Okay. So when I call your name, please say whether you are in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Michael Cohen,
In favor.
Maya Donahue,
In favor.
Rock Friedman,
In favor.
Jason Fromowitz,
In favor?
Sean Lamoureux,
In favor.
Anna Picior,
In favor?
Miriam Rowe,
In favor.
and Larry Shire.
In favor.
Okay, with all 8 committee members present in favor of all 3 open streets. These pass, and we need someone to write.
It'll be easy, I'll do it.
Sounds good?
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda, we have continued discussion of parking regulations on First Avenue between NYU Langone Health's pickup drop-off area and East 34th Street. We had a presentation discussion last meeting last month about this. We have since circulated a resolution. Does anyone have any comments on the resolution or discussion that they would like to raise? Alrighty, please.
I thought the signage, the existing sign that says no standing. And then we wanted to add another sign that says ambulance parking home.
No standing except ambulance?
Yeah, in other words, refine that language.
I guess that's.
That's fine, if you prefer to read that one, I don't have an objection.
Except, no standing except ambulance parking permitted.
Mine.
I actually like the no standing except ambulance, because I think it's easier for other drivers to read that as one sign instead of having multiple signs and being a bit confused about like different,
Yeah.
what actually applies to my car.
Yeah, if you see ambulance parking, you might just read that as, I could stand here, but I can't park here.
Right, because you
Right.
missed the other sign, because there's like 5 signs on the pole.
You won me over on mine.
Ultimately, it'll be at DOT's discretion. anyway.
Right,
yeah.
So we could ask, but DOT decides. Any other thoughts, comments? Anyone gonna make a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll move, so move.
Thank you, all right, let's go to vote if there's no other discussion on the motion. Brendan?
Okay. So when I call your name, please say whether you're in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Michael Cohen,
In favor.
Maya Donahue,
In favor.
Rock Friedman,
In favor.
Jason Fromowitz,
Favor?
John Lamoureux,
In favor.
Anna Picior,
In favor.
Miriam Rowe,
In favor.
Larry Shire.
In favor.
With all 8 committee members present in favor, this resolution passes.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
All right, next on the agenda, discussion on returning parking enforcement authority to the New York City Department of Transportation. Okay, so I brought this to the agenda.
This is interesting.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so for background, Brooklyn Community Board 6 passed a resolution asking for the same in their last month's Transportation Committee meeting. I think very similar to issues that we have been talking about recently. This came about, as I understand, because they were talking about enforcement of existing regulations within their district, and seeing that enforcement was lacking in many areas, and they saw the solution to the lack of enforcement. They made a similar resolution where they were asking for DOT to take over parking enforcement. I know we were just talking about NYU Langone, very pertinent to our district. That particular issue is also the request to change it to ambulance parking only is due to a lack of enforcement. And the hope is that by changing it to ambulances only, that will encourage people not to park there. But I think we're still concerned with enforcement. And I see it very much as a theme within our district that the issues are often that the signage is there, the laws are there, but ultimately, the answer to a lot of the parking complaints in our district is that it's an enforcement issue. It very frequently is the response to problems and complaints. Historically, DOT had done parking enforcement for the city. I don't know what year it changed. 96.
Yeah.
It was moved to the NYPD.
Giuliani.
Okay. My understanding is somewhat of the justification for that was that the parking enforcement officers were getting assaulted, and by putting them in NYPD uniforms, that was an effort to reduce that. I think we're in a very different city than we were in 96, when you talk about like crime rates and also just parking regulations and the need for different parking regulations. But personally, I think it's worth revisiting. I think it's a different time. I think that's less of a risk. And yeah, so Brooklyn CB6 passed this. I think it would be great to keep the momentum going, and sort of another board adding similar support for that. I think would keep some attention on this issue. I think would solve a lot of problems that we have seen within our district as well. Michael.
My opinion on this is I think it would really help make the streets safer, actually. Instead of like using NYPD to use the New York City Department of Transportation. And that'd be great because they could be more focused on practicing infractions rather than other types of crime. And I don't think the NYPD are doing the greatest job of enforcing the traffic codes.
Yeah, agreed. Also, I'll add, I think one of the big problems with parking enforcement today is around police precincts. That there's I think unofficially they're called self-enforcement zones, and we see a lot of lack of. I think it's improved a bit in time, but we see a lot of issues with enforcement. Maybe some degree. They don't block the bike lane in most cases in our district. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I think that's also a big reason why this makes us Micah.
I was gonna say, I find this very interesting, and I had one comment is I think this like transition of allowing the NYPD to focus on what the true crime as far as what our legal statutes say. It's in line with like the new Office of Domestic Violence and all that, and allowing the NYPD to focus on its like primary mission and having other appropriate offices focus on other appropriate issues. My other question was a curiosity question. Do you know what neighborhoods comprise Brooklyn?
I don't know offhand.
Gowanus.
Oh, okay.
Redwood-ish,
Yeah.
Cobble Hill.
Thank you.
Brendan.
As someone who works on service requests, for the board office, I'll just say anecdotally that we do have several, or at least I have several service requests that are related to parking regulations not being followed and enforcement being a challenge. So it definitely is an issue in our district.
I can share a very quick story.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I put in a complaint about parking during General Assembly because it really affects right in front of my building the whole week. And I got a call back from NYPD asking if it was really that big of a deal. And then when I said yes, the call ended and I got an email or a text saying my case had been closed.
Oof. They hung up on you?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
Okay, got it.
Just symbolically.
But it was a pretty wild experience.
Yeah.
Impressive that you got a call.
And
That's positive, that's progress.
I think one of the things was, this happens all the time, all over the city.
Yeah. Larry.
I'd like to invite Colleen to join the discussion. One of our former,
She strategically dropped off. Actually, I don't really think it's fair for her to.
one of our former public members for many, many years, Bob Cohen, he interacted with Colleen. He was one of the people involved with New York City DOT parking enforcement for decades, and he was a real expert on the subject. And yeah, just thinking that someone with his expertise and experience, to ask him if he's still alive and still around and still interested to if he's capable of remotely joining us to discuss what his observations over these decades have been, where DOT wasn't enforcing it compared to how it worked when DOT was enforcing it, might be good to know as far as background goes.
You're proposing that we table this until
Well,
such.
I propose that we table this to afford, Brendan, you remember Bob?
Yeah, I talk with him on the phone frequently.
He's still around?
Yeah, he's still around. Very much so.
So what I'm proposing is that we'd invite him to join him for the discussion of this, which is something I would consider him a subject matter expert on.
And sorry, he worked at DOT, or
Yeah.
what was his capacity of expertise?
Yeah, he was a supervisor of the enforcement agents.
Got it. My pushback would be that I would like to see this move forward so that we can continue the momentum that Brooklyn CB6 had on this. I think like there's power in keeping it topical and notable if we kind of quickly follow on. I think so I think it would be interesting.
I leave it to the wisdom of the chair and my fellow committee members, whether we should postpone it to invite him. I don't know if he would want to come or if you have anything to say, but I like to hear, I would like to hear more in terms of contrasting how it had been when DOT, other than the one subject of people getting assaulted, you know, in terms of the practicality of whether people were able to get away with stuff the way they seem to be able to get away with it with NYPD in charge, particularly placard abuse.
Yeah, I defer to the wisdom of the committee. That's just my opinion, that I think we should pass it. So if we want to wait, that's totally fine.
I think it's great to build on the momentum, and this should not slow it down. Maybe it would be part of a larger conversation, God willing, when this is something that's a bigger issue where we're fine tuning it. But I do worry that PD has a capacity to get enormous amounts of money for personnel and budget. And I worry that we might have fewer enforcement agents, even if they are higher quality, if it's an ask annually down the road from DOT. So it would be something that we'd want reassurances about, or something built into some sort of statute change.
But can you pull Rosa? I did include on there that funding should go.
Yeah, I saw the funding, and I think it's personnel specifically that I was worried about, but yes.
Should we add personnel to the funding? I mean, I know it doesn't fully address your.
Right, of
concern,
course,
But,
but-
and yes, agree.
Yeah, I agree, that's an important addition.
So where should this be?
Where does it say?
Appropriate resources on the last resolve.
Oh, I guess we have it.
Oh, maybe it
staffing.
does say staffing.
Personnel
company.
and staffing?
No, I guess staffing.
Actually thought funding was.
Resources for staff.
Oh, maybe
When I looked at it,
resources, funding, yeah.
We could add funding.
No, maybe it's, I gleamed over it. Okay.
Do you want to add funding with funding?
Well, if you change it to resources for staffing,
Sure. Resources and funding for stuff?
yeah,
Sure.
Great, okay, after the comma for resources, changed it and staffing for,
Right, it's not like DOT, you didn't try hard. Lose their.
and. Remove the comma and
resources and funding.
Resources and funding. for
Right,
staffing.
right, you know, uniforms and cars and the like, yeah.
right,
No, that's weird.
excellent.
Thank you.
Go back to the comma.
Okay, I don't have any objection to pushing this through.
Yeah, I think that's.
If that's the feeling of the committee, we should go forward with the vote. And I'll move it.
We still had some discussion if you hold the motion.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. Sam Schwartz, used to be parking enforcement, and he was much more aggressive, just towing cars that were parked. So I do think the way he describes it was much more aggressive enforcement when DOT did it. But, I just want to make the point that it's not just a lack of enforcement, it's selective enforcement. So, the people that are on their team are not getting enforced, and the people that are outside their team are getting enforced. So people in the placard class are not getting enforced, and a former police sergeant admitted that if they were listening to right-wing podcasts and news media, they didn't ticket them. So it's super problematic, the current state that we're in. So I would urge us to move this along.
Any other discussion? Jerry?
I just want to echo what Barack just said. That was an unbelievable admission by former NYPD about their abuse of discretion. That's all I got.
Thanks. Yes, agreed.
Can I move the question?
Yes, you can. Do we have a second? Yeah, all right. If there's no comments further, then we will move to vote.
Okay, when I call your name, please say whether you're in favor, opposed, abstain, or not entitled. Michael Cohen,
In favor.
Maya Donahue,
In favor.
Rob Friedman,
In favor.
Jason Fromowitz,
In favor?
Sean Lamoureux,
In favor.
Anna Paisior,
In favor.
Miriam Rowe,
In favor.
Larry Shire,
In favor.
and Jerry Weinstein.
In favor.
With all 9 committee members present being in favor, this resolution passes.
Wonderful, we will vote on it on Wednesday. Okay, last on the agenda, we have continued discussion on fiscal year 2028 statement of district needs and budget requests. So Maya and I have submitted building blurbs about which priorities we should have Maya's in regard to disability, accessibility, thank you, should be our key priority. Mine on expansion of the Second Avenue subway as the priority. Hopefully everybody had a chance to read them. Open the floor to discussion and debate. Michael?
I chose accessibility, but I also say that I agree that the Second Avenue subway extension is important. I've actually gone to the MTA board meeting, because I spoke on my own behalf about it, and I'm totally in favor of west and south. I talked about Alphabet City and about like how a lot of them don't have a connection to the subway. Currently, they have mostly buses in that area, and I think that it'd be great if they had a subway closer by.
So your vote is, though, for accessibility?
I went to their committee meeting and the board meeting.
No, for, as it pertains to, for where we should go, what's your, which one would you prefer to see us?
I prefer accessibility, but I was just saying that I've spoken on behalf of the
Okay, got it,
South, we're extending the Second Avenue subway.
I mean, I've put out, Second Avenue subway, and that's my support. I think, I'm speaking for myself, I think both are extremely important, so, I just think that's worth calling out, that both are obviously important, yes.
Yeah, this is just like saying, do you wanna go live with mom or dad, you know? There's no right answer here, but I think there's already a funding source for elevators, for train stations, like with congestion pricing, that's already established, where the Second Avenue subway does not have a funding source. So I think for that reason, if we ever wanna see the Second Avenue subway, not in my lifetime, maybe your lifetime, but we should push everything we can in that direction. So my vote would be for Second Avenue.
Yeah, again, same, absolutely, both terrifically important. I would say that the accessibility piece, we still fall short on a lot of the curb cut concerns, of just quality of sidewalks, or like we had the passability of the width of sidewalk concern as well. And yes, it's exciting that we'll have the elevators, but that will be years down the road. And in the meantime, also bus stops and whatnot are lacking a lot of accessibility, as well as snow clearing, many issues. So that's why I would end up with accessibility, much as I adore the idea of the Second Avenue. So
Jerry?
But if you read what Maya wrote.
Oh, are we gonna, so we are gonna have to split the baby ultimately?
Wait, sorry, hold on, Jerry.
Sorry, Jerry, I was talking. Out of order.
Yes, it's helpful, thank you. I guess I will counter that I included accessibility in the Second Avenue blurb. That I was making the connection to Second Avenue, creating accessible subway stations and expanding access to accessible subway infrastructure.
How we hyphenate accessibility and Second Avenue subway?
I think we have to choose one.
Yeah, you have to choose
Yes,
one.
yes.
Yeah.
Jerry, you now have the floor.
Yeah, I have a deja vu because what I said last time is that if we, for example, put forward the Second Avenue, that doesn't mean in every single meeting, we can't always insist that the ACA actually be followed. The problem isn't that we don't have a set of rules and so forth, it's that we don't abide by them and implement them. So we can have our cake in that order of operations, because if we do the opposite, then we're just pipe dreaming as far as the Second Avenue subway. My 2 cents.
I will say, Jerry, when you said that last month, it really did resonate with me, but I think the concern of why accessibility is still my top is that we don't really address ADA concerns at every meeting, and some of it does come down to the nitty gritty of like, yeah, we have to talk about this one particular corner that has like a very steep curb cut or a very shallow or whatever, that's not a long enough ramp. So I think while I still very much value accessibility and I want that to be our district needs, if we are going to vote for the Second Avenue subway, I'd really implore the committee that we would all have to take due diligence and bring that to the committee every single month to really ensure that we are getting what we're asking for. I still vote for accessibility because I don't know if we'll do that.
Where would you see us voting more? How are we not addressing accessibility today in our discussions?
I think like to Jerry's point of what resonated with me, it's like we have the ability to like ask DOT specifically like, hey, this bus stop really deserves a bus shelter. Like near me on 57th Street and Second Avenue is a M15 SBS, which if we're going to talk about the Second Avenue subway, the M15 is an accessible alternative that currently exists and is the most used bus route in the country that we're fortunate enough to have, but doesn't have a bus shelter. It doesn't have clear signage. There's cars that are parked in front of it all the time. The bus can't pull up to the curb and all these issues. And it's like, if we're going to go with the Second Avenue subway as our #1 priority, we need to then be coming to the board every month being like, hey, this has not been resolved still. and find all the individual instances of that. And be actually diligent of trying to achieve full accessibility that's beyond elevators in subway stations every single month through the power of our committee. And I don't think we're doing that to the full extent currently. I'm not saying that we are not caring about it. I do think this committee very much does care about accessibility. But if we're not gonna put it as our number one, we really need to show that in our day-to-day or month to month, again.
Can I just comment quickly? I know people are being very patient, raising hands and stuff. The reason why it doesn't come up is because we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily agree. B has raised her own,
And I
how it
think-
affects her
And we would be here
specifically.
talking
Yeah.
about that, but like, I think that is why, because we often don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Larry.
It's something that I personally have an involvement with. It's the Second Avenue subway, in that my grandfather was at the drafting board doing the plans for the Second Avenue subway in 1938, when there was a bond issue that was supposed to pay for it. And then subsequently, there was money raised specifically by bonds in the 1950s to pay for the Second Avenue subway. It was supposed to have replaced a northbound and southbound elevated train that ran on First, Second, and Third Avenues, in addition to the Lexington Avenue subway. There were a total of 6 local and express tracks, which we've lost. And if we don't take a strong stand, our ability to not only secure the funding, but to keep the funding and ensure that that funding and the engineering work take place prior to the actual construction, it's going to be a lost opportunity. And I appreciate Maya's long version of her district needs statement that does pay attention to the Second Avenue subway. And someone previously mentioned every single station will be accessible, unlike what was in existence when we had the elevated lines. And building it from scratch will make it work a lot more smoothly. And it'll be much better integrated into the neighborhood. So I'm going to support the Second Avenue subway, but I encourage anybody in the district who has an accessibility concern or a desire for bus shelters to continue to apply to the DOT, which has the mechanism for it, and use the community board to help with their service requests and never let up. And we'll continue to do that. And there's no reason why we shouldn't mention it at any convenient time, but I'm still going to prioritize the Second Avenue subway.
Brendan.
Just a brief interjection, whenever the committee is done discussing this, I do recommend that we end up taking a tally of which committee members prefer what, because clearly some committee members prefer one, others prefer the other.
Agreed, yes.
Is there a way that we can just go around the room and state our preference, and then you'll add it up?
We can do that.
In lieu of
but-
having 2 separate votes?
In lieu of having, yeah, it wouldn't be 2 separate votes. It would be a vote where committee members say either that they prefer accessibility or that they prefer the Second Avenue subway one.
Can we do that? I'm supportive of
Yeah.
it. Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, once the committee is done discussing, I don't wanna
Yes.
curtail committee discussion.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Jerry, good. I agree. We'll vote on it.
I'd like to propose that we have like an accessibility corner for every monthly meeting. So that kind of gets us in the habit, whether or not it's in the newsletter, reaching out and asking people to speak up and share if they have an issue, but something to honor what Maya and others have said, to always have it on our radar. Might be a 5-minute discussion, but at least there'll be a place for it.
Do you have comment?
Yeah, and it might be a comment, if there's something that comes up in the district, or manager's report at the full board, or in the chair's report here, if there's something that's relevant, that you can highlight it. I mean, certainly, I think, we have to be cognizant of, not just making it a ritual, but actually making it substantive, because there is a lot that has to be done.
I'm not opposed to that. I guess I'm still just not exactly sure like what that agenda, what would be discussed in that topic each.
You know, they have to
meeting?
see if something comes up, like, for example, what I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting here, and that is that the bus stop, which was relocated, wasn't announced, and that people, who weren't lucky like me to ask the driver, would have had to have gotten off at 47th Street and had to come back. And that's an accessibility concern.
I fully supported discussing that in this committee and discussing it in general, but is that access? I'm not trying to be exclusionary, but what's?
I'm saying it can come up in many, many different guises. Accessibility is a very big tent.
Yes, I guess I agree, my.
I think that like goes to Miriam's point of, I think for our committee, it's not fully representative of what the full extent of the ability and disability that exists within our community. So I think having that time is a really good idea, but I do fear that it will just become a ritual and we'll be like, oh, I have nothing to say. Because we're not the ones that are generally, based on this committee itself, comprising, are not the ones that are experiencing the most difficult pain point.
Yeah, and I'm fully supportive of discussing accessibility concerns as
Yeah, I
they
just think that
arise.
bring up
Yeah,
agenda items as they arise, but maybe we need more outreach, or maybe we need district needs to be accessibility.
well, there's also an argument that we need a more diverse committee board, yeah, for sure, yeah. Okay, so we're not gonna do that for now, we could talk offline. But I don't
Maybe
think,
old new business.
yeah, I mean, certainly, like, it could come, I encourage people to please bring up, if you have accessibility concerns. Like, we should get it on the agenda and we should discuss it, you can bring it up in old and new business, there's something in particular. I just feel like, I'm not sure what contents we would have for that on a recurring basis, but like, yes, please bring up accessibility concerns, we should discuss them. Please.
Can I ask another just dumb nerdy question, because I've been doing this all night? I'm a software engineer, and in my line of work, we talk about accessibility a lot. We specifically have 5 specific kinds of disability that we know how to address in terms of the way that we build software. It impacts about 20% of the audience for a large, consumer-facing website. I'm wondering, do we have similar sort of guidelines in the way that we talk about sort of issues in front of this committee, or in the way that we talk about civics issues generally that might be able to help focus accessibility discussion, because it really does impact a lot of things, including the communications that you just were talking about, right? But I'm wondering, do we have some sort of framework like that from the city or from the ether that we could use to help focus those accessibility conversations? Because they're important.
Why did you want to respond?
Yeah, I think it's like the specific word that Brendan showed us last one. I don't think he put it on the screen this one. It does specifically mention the ADA federal requirement, so it's like whatever is comprised.
Cool,
of
so
that.
just within the.
Yeah, I think that's our legal parameters.
Cool.
As far as like, I do think we could do more.
No,
But I think that's the minimum is the
But just
ADA.
having like a framework like that, and I know that the ADA does have, somewhere in the depths of the text of the legislation, there is some like guidelines of like. I don't want to say both, but anyway, yes, it's a good thing.
I do think we are generally. Accessibility concerns are regularly raised as we're talking about changes and projects,
It's just a question of if it's our number one or our number two.
certainly, yeah. But yes, I guess, I don't think there's a framework that requires us to discuss it.
I think.
We should discuss it,
Given the city does it, it's the ADA,
yeah.
but other than that, there's none.
Michael?
I feel like this goes to be more done to improve the accessibility for the sidewalks. We need more curb cuts installed, and definitely more that tactile stuff, like people have trouble seeing and stuff. I think we definitely need more of that.
If there's particular spaces that you feel like it's missing and needed, let me know, we can talk about it specifically as well.
I think we definitely need more pedestrian islands and stuff,
We also need
No.
more tactile stuff that does not turn into a skating rink in the winter.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think we definitely need more benches and things like that. I know that public intent can request on 311, but a lot of people are looking for seating. And a lot of people like having seating on the street. And I think we definitely need a place for people to sit and rest and take a break.
thanks.
I was, Michael reminded me that as we do more and more of like the brown spacing pedestrian zones, which I'm very much in favor of, because I want more pedestrian zones, I think that does then fall into the accessibility issue of like, it is a very not clear color. Like the green bike lines are very vibrant, but that mushroom brown, as Rich described it, is not very easy to see sometimes. And as far as like the levelings of stuff and how we move forward as we increase the pedestrian safety.
All right, so, okay,
Motion to.
yes,
vote.
that's what I was. All right, yeah, so let's go ahead and vote if you want accessibility for either accessibility, Second Avenue subway, or neither, I guess.
We could add in neither option. Okay, so when I call your name, please say whether you would vote for accessibility as the most important need, Second Avenue subway, or neither. Michael Cohen,
Accessibility.
Maya Donahue,
Accessibility.
Brock Friedman,
Second Avenue subway.
Jason Fromowitz,
In favor, sorry. Second Avenue subway.
Sean Lamoureux,
Accessibility.
Anna Picior,
Accessibility.
Miriam Rowe,
Accessibility.
Larry Shire,
Second Avenue subway.
Jerry Weinstein.
Subway.
So 5 committee members said accessibility, 4 said Second Avenue subway, so accessibility wins.
Okay, very good. Wonderful. All right, so then, that is our top choice, robust discussion.
It was a comprehensive one.
Yeah.
So kudos to the committee.
Yeah, thanks for drafting too.
Yes.
Indeed, yes, thank you for writing more. Great, okay, that brings us to the chair's report. I have a few things. DOT is doing.
Oh, I have a quick question. Is it gonna be the long version?
Or the short version. And the two versions.
Because the long version mentioned the Second Avenue subway, the short version doesn't.
I think it does.
I think it does, but it's very fleeting.
Brendan, is there a
Because it's short.
preference between the long and short versions in terms of what we provide?
Because accessibility won.
Yeah, I would say.
I think the short version, because other examples from previous have been more short, like the last year's.
But is there a prohibition against the long version?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a character limit, so I would say as a precaution, go for the short version.
We could work that logistics out.
I think everybody has ADHD now, so.
Yeah.
Or suggest
Yeah,
short
pretty
version.
Yeah. Okay, great, we'll go with the short version unless anybody objects.
I'm gonna object and like to flesh out a little bit more about the Second Avenue subway.
I think there was like a call to question, right?
But it wasn't
we didn't
specified.
necessarily-
And then there was.
It wasn't specified which wording.
We didn't adopt the verbiage, are you object, do you have to object?
I'd like to strongly encourage a little bit more fleshing out of, you know, from what you had in the longer version was wonderful. And if you could, maybe, the short version is very pithy. If you could maybe embellish it for those of us, the 4 of us who want the Second Avenue subway, give us a little
The
something.
Second Avenue.
Is there time sensitivity to us passing this tonight?
No.
No,
We, so we
Okay,
can
so
discuss
let's-
the longer-ish version.
Oh, I think we have tonight aligned on accessibility as the
Right.
priority. Let's revisit the verbiage in our next meeting. And I'm appointing Larry to propose an additional 1 to 2 sentences
Sure.
on that, to add.
And my proposal is to, you know, be inspired by Maya's treatment.
Excellent, okay, great, so then we'll revisit next month, to discuss the specifics, verbiage, to adopt the verbiage. Very good, okay, thank you. All right, now we'll move on to transport. Okay, DOT is running a I'm very excited about this initiative around 14th Street. There is a large scale community feedback process going on, proposing a redesign of 14th Street, maintaining the busway, and figuring out a vision for what the roadway and the public realm on 14th Street, now that it is a busway, should look like. They had a workshop.
Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago. They invited the public in to sort of provide feedback on the space. I was there, Larry was there. I don't know if others maybe joined that I missed. But yeah, generally people seem happy with the busway overall on 14th Street. I know this board has been very supportive of the busway. I think I'm excited about this being like permanently changing our infrastructure to have a bus to permanently make this a busway. I know when we have Barack and I have had some conversations with bids related to 34th Street and 42nd Street becoming the busways. A lot of the feedback that we've gotten from the bids was that the busway is kind of great, but like the public realm is sort of leaves something to be desired on 14th Street. And I know I walk across 14th Street a lot as well as take the bus and bike and all the things, but yeah, I think that's like a fair criticism that we don't really take advantage of the space that is now afforded to us with the busway. So it's really exciting. I think that we're gonna sort of redefine the streetscape on 14th Street, better take advantage of the fact that it's not a busy thorough street now and it's there's more space to be reallocated. Yes, Larry.
Okay, the event that Jason's speaking about was run very much like a charrette, very much like the planning for the East Side Coastal Resiliency or the 14th Street subway shutdown. And this actually is something that grew out of the planning for the 14th Street subway shutdown, and the SBS route came on board, and there was a big concern that the streets would be overwhelmed with the subway not running. And so this is picking up from that point and not just leaving that as a frozen memorial to the shutdown that didn't happen, and fleshing out some of the good ideas that started to be generated. I think particularly in the area of Union Square, the Union Square Partnership has taken the lead in advancing new ideas. But the purpose of this was to examine every block from river to river to see how we can improve the quality of life.
Also, I think to add on that, one of the things that I'm excited about for it as well is we're not only talking about 14th Street as part of this project. The scope is potentially like it's the area around 14th Street.
Neighborhood wide.
Yeah, so there's opportunity as a part of this to talk about University Place, which I appreciate is outside of our district. Irving Place, I think, is like in the realm of like what should Irving Place look like. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity here that's not just talking about 14th Street, which I think is super exciting. And yeah, there's a lot of momentum around it, which is great. Michael, did you have something on 14th Street?
Well, I wanted to say, I love the busway on 14th Street. I think it's a big improvement. And it's very changing a lot of 14th Street. I totally would like to see what they come up with for the redesign of it. But it's been great on moving buses and
Yeah.
trucks faster along 14th Street. The public part, is amazing that they've been adding that, it changes all the time. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I would say it's a big success.
Yeah, thanks. Jared?
Wait, was the charrette recorded?
I don't believe so. It was. Wouldn't have been efficient to record. It was sort of like people milling about, talking and putting up post-its. I think there'll be like my understanding is there'll be some sort of like report, produced as a part of it.
Was there any comparative of the following, Barcelona has done X so that people would have like targets?
Yes, they did have a poster around other implementations, if I remember correctly. There's still, I think, a survey open that I would encourage people to fill out if they haven't. It got sent around.
But it was kind of banal, the survey,
Yeah, well, anyway, everybody, more of a public statement, people should fill out the survey. All right, so that's that, Third Avenue, also exciting, DOT started putting concrete in some of the pedestrian islands on Third Avenue, which is fantastic, because it took like 10 years for Second Avenue to get concrete. So that's wonderful. I biked up here today and I already saw that work started, so, fantastic, really great. And then lastly, on my end, we've had some back and forth with the bit Rich is building from last week on 24th and 3rd. The main update is that the board is taking our recommendations and they're gonna come back to us, if they would like to see the planters that we suggested and the loading zone. They're discussing it in their next board meeting and they'll come back to with us. They still have some other, they're maintaining a lot of their concerns, but that's my main update, is that they're gonna come back to us with their responses to our recommendations. Anything I missed?
No, it's good.
All right, that's it for the report. Any old or new business? All right, seeing none.
Just to clarify, that all the resolutions we voted on are going to full board Wednesday?
Yes. All right, if there is no, do we have a motion to adjourn? Move. All right, great. Now seeing no objection, we will end the meeting at 8:59 PM.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.